So for this video, I wanted to keep this one very serious and very honest and forthcoming as well, because this is a particular sort of topic that not many people talk about when it comes down to the idea of building a brand, right? And when you think about building a brand, what you have to bear in mind is that you open yourself up to scrutiny, right? You're putting yourself out in the public. You are effectively getting your thoughts out, your voice, your opinions on various different topics, right? And if you are building a brand for the idea of allowing it to align with your business in a way for you to help align with more like-minded people, as well as getting more prospects for your business, right, to generate more revenue, it is a necessary evil. It's something that you have to sort of get into the mindset of doing, because it pays dividends to be involved in creating said content and to put yourself online to amplify what it is that you are doing and what you are looking to do in the near future. And for this one, I just wanted to really be covering this topic in a way that can inspire you to do it anyway, if you feel that it may be a bit difficult to do it, on the basis that you're kind of not necessarily comfortable with the idea of online trolls or people online that are sort of effectively just trying to discredit you. Arguably, everyone has various different sort of forms of fear when it comes down to positioning themselves online for all various reasons, but a lot of it sort of comes down to the idea that they just don't want to be told that they're wrong, or they don't want to be just treated badly just on the basis of them having an opinion or an idea that they just wanted to share publicly. So for this video, I'm going to talk about why it is in your best interest to combat the trolls in a way that makes the most sense for you, right? And in a way that really allows you to be more prepared and well versed for when you are presented with any of those various different circumstances and scenarios. And this is me speaking off the back of a troll that tried me pretty much a couple minutes ago. So it's very, very raw, I would say, and very fresh in the actual idea of it. And it's really interesting because fortunately, I know how to sort of navigate in those situations as well. And it's something that I've always been a big believer of kill them with kindness, as far as I'm concerned. I don't believe in the idea of going into a fight all guns blazing for no reason, effectively, for someone that you don't know, or you may not know, actually, considering it's anonymous or whatever the case, but you don't really know the person. There isn't anything to really go by, so it doesn't really make sense to combat them in that sense. You have to be very strategic and mindful with how you go about it. And I was also speaking with a prospect as well, and then when I was speaking through the process of YouTube as well, and they said that they like the idea of it, but they don't feel they can deal with the sort of criticism online. And I had to really think for a minute, because I've been involved in producing said content for a while now. So it was a case where I've always knew that it would come at some stage. I just wasn't too sure when. And it was just a case where no matter what, it's about what I believe and what I'm doing, and being grounded in my mission of raising awareness of how to build a level of brand authority, but then also how to deal with the idea of doing this particular thing, being online, sharing content, putting your opinions out there in the open for people to criticize or to discredit or disregard. Like, there's so many various elements to it, and I wanted to kind of go through this video. But before I kind of share sort of the ways that I sort of go about it based on my sort of mindset as well, I want to just introduce you to a book that I have called Swipe. So it's a workbook by Nicola Millington. And Nicola is someone who I respect and appreciate a lot. She's effectively my peer in the PR side of things. She's in she's a leader in the PR field, right? And with how I met her, funny enough, I met her in the early sort of stages of me, building my business and really just giving it a go on my end. I recently left my role, so I was really just wanting to be immersed in seeing other successful people doing things in their own right as well. And then to see Nicola doing amazing things in her right. It was funny enough, I was always immersed in her video content. And it was at a time where I was thinking to myself, like, how does she have the confidence to do that? I could never do that. I was saying that at the time as well. I said I could never be on video doing videos every single day. I was like, no way, that's not something I could do. So she really paved the way in terms of how I thought about not only the idea of content creation and putting myself out there, but then also when it comes down to business as well. She gave me so much advice that I carry to this day. So the love is always there. So I really appreciate her. But what she has developed for this book, and then I'll include this book in the pinned comments as well, and I'll share the link for you guys to grab a copy, because this ain't like no advert or anything or no paid situation. This is just me showing some love, because when it comes down to any sort of situation that presents itself for a troll that rears its ugly head, I use this book as a guide to help me learn how to navigate in the best way possible. That doesn't necessarily make the troll win. And it doesn't necessarily mean that in the process I've kind of lost myself or been too consumed with the idea of the online troll. Because with that, we have to really be mindful when it comes down to the idea of building a brand. Like, I'll be real, as much as I scream and shout about building your brand, posting content, putting yourself on LinkedIn, putting yourself on YouTube, Substack, utilizing that content to amplify your efforts wider, I say it on the basis that I developed and refined my level of confidence to get to the stage where anything that anyone has to say regarding my work, it doesn't concern me. I really take a very neutral stance into what I do and what I continue to do, on the basis that I can continue to navigate in a way that is most effective to my mission. For me, all I care about is my journey and the destination, right? The A and the B is what my main focus is, and the journey along. Anything else that involves that, like I say in my videos, I don't take anything that's amazing to good. Like, anything that is great, but I'm still focused on the mission. Anything that's bad is a shame, it's bad, but I've got to rub the dirt off my shoulders, dust it off, and get back into it. I always focus on the idea of being neutral. It's never too bad and it's never too good. Just focus on the task at hand for whatever the destination looks like for you. And then when you kind of navigate from that sort of path, you then realize that none of this stuff really matters. The only thing that matters is the objective that you set yourself and the mission that you set yourself. Anything else that happens, anything positive is a bonus as far as I'm concerned. Anything that negative has happened is something that is bound to happen. It's just something that you learn from and you learn to navigate and to maneuver, right? So with Swipe as a workbook, this shifted my whole sort of mindset. And this is what allowed me to be able to be producing daily long form content, right? Despite what people may say, or despite the actual idea of me putting myself out there, a lot of the ways I think and how I navigate has been due to this book right here, right? And it's amazing. It covers the idea of trolls in general, the origin of trolls, where trolls even started, or the idea of it as well. And there's so many various different case studies that is in the book that looks at all various different versions of how online trolls can rear their ugly heads, and they may try to antagonize you, or to kind of disregard your work or anything like that. So, for example, funny enough, I'll let you in on a story. So a few, maybe last year actually, I posted just content on LinkedIn as I do, and there was a gentleman per se, I'll call him a gentleman, who referred to me as KSI, or they made a reference to KSI and said that I looked like KSI. So for me, it was a bit, I was taken back a bit. I was thinking, okay, that's a bit weird. Why would you say that? I personally wouldn't go around saying people look like any but person just on the color of their skin, right? Let's call it a spade a spade. So I was taken back by that, and my initial sort of reaction was to ignore them or not to say anything. But it really it reinforced the idea that if you don't put your foot down and have a stance in terms of how you want to be perceived and how you want to be respected online, then how are you expected for that to navigate across all realms of your life, right? And, you know, online and offline, we can argue they're two different things, but in some cases, they are very much interchangeable when we really look at it properly. So it's in your best interest to carry the same sort of energy and the sort of way that you're maneuvering online, the same as you would offline, right? And as far as trolls are concerned, if you need to have a zero tolerance for it. But there was a particular case study in the book, and it was how to navigate trolls in a professional setting. And as I was using LinkedIn, I was thinking a good way to look through it and see what I can kind of say as a sort of rebuttal, and not a rebuttal in a sense of me sort of clapping back or coming for their character or whatever the case, but more so just to reframe the positioning of it, to allow them to see where they went wrong, but then to show them that there's no malice on that part as well. And then when I done that successfully and effectively the troll was tamed, let's argue, that made me realize that it's incredibly important to focus on how you are able to control your narrative. And as far as branding goes, that is the main thing that I focus on every single day when I work with my clients, when I work on myself, when I work with peers. It's the whole idea of what are you doing to not only build your narrative and to refine your narrative, but to protect your narrative. And with online trolls, as far as they're concerned, some of them would do whatever it takes in terms of dimming your light or to see you crashing down. And yeah, I would not recommend that you fall for their bait. You learn to be armed with the right tools to protect yourself in moments where you feel that there's a lot at stake and there's a lot of sort of feelings that's involved, because let's be real, we're all humans. And to have people try and discredit you or be mean or nasty or say things or try to be cheeky and they know what they're doing, it's all sort of mind games that you need to be able to understand and navigate, right? So like I said, for this book, there's so many various different case studies when it comes down to the idea of navigating online trolls, whether it comes down from a place where they're trying to criticize you in a public professional setting, when it comes down to people being online and they're trying to be cheeky with their remarks, or when they're trying to badger you for a response. There's so many various case studies that Nicola has put together in this book. I'm screaming it loud from the rooftops in terms of how beneficial it is as a tool, because it's helped me quite a few times, if I'm being honest with you. It's helped me a lot. Every time I'm positioned where I'm just like, this is a bit of a tricky one. Let me refer to Swipe. And I referred to the book, and every time it's saved me and it's helped me to reframe and to re-look at the idea of trolls in a different perspective and a different light. So for that, I would say please check out the book. Like I said, I'm going to include it in the pinned comment below as well. But then it's also for me just to kind of let you know that don't let trolls or the idea of people sending messages or trying to discredit you or disregard you or trying to take you off your course. Do not let them take you off your course. And I'll explain why. We live in a society and a world where people are caged in, right? And in this sense, in reference to what I'm going to say, they're caged in mentally. They are primed to not think more out of the way from a better sort of positive perspective, because unfortunately they just wasn't granted that opportunity. And this can get a bit more deeper, but I don't want to make it that deep. But ultimately, it's we need to feel sorry for them and we need to help them where we can, right? And it may sound a bit counterproductive because, like, Tariq, what do you mean you got to help them when they're saying these mean, nasty things or whatever the case, or trying to get under people's skin? But you have to understand that with that, it's attention based. And attention is the biggest currency that we have in this digital era. And people would do anything for attention, some people anyway. So with that, you have to think like there has to be a reasoning as to why they have that much level of sort of hatred or disregard or dislike for someone that they may not even know. So for that, I say you have to feel sorry for them. And as cliche as it sounds, we need to figure out a way to incorporate the content that's in the book as well, but to also approach it from a place of understanding of love, like on a vibe of like, listen, I appreciate that things may not be going your way, but in Jesus' name, you'll make it. You'll get to a point where you're no longer having to do this or no longer having to think and be like this. Because honestly, it's a mental thing. When you're stuck in that place of negativity and you realize that that's the only way that you feel that you can get something from someone, i.e., attention, it takes them on a crazy path. And when you start to think of it like that, right, then you no longer look at the idea of trolls as something that is a personal attack on you, because they don't know you. Like, in the grand scheme of things, they don't know you. They don't know who you are. They don't know where you've been. They don't know what you have had to do to get to the position you are in now. They don't know your struggles. They don't know your day to day. They don't know anything. So I would say, based on that, don't let the idea of public criticism or whatever the case take you away from the mission at hand. Focus on the mission and use that as fuel in order to develop the content that you know that will help people. After the recent situation, that fired me up to say, you know what, I'm going to record content because it is important to reinforce the any negativity that comes my way or whatever with positivity, right? Anything negative that comes my way, I'm doubling down on positivity and what I can do to help others, because that's what it's all about. When you start to feed into the negativity that people try to present onto you, that's when it gets sticky, man. Don't do it. Use it as fuel and turn it in, convert that into a positive fuel that you can use to continue to spread your message and to continue to align towards the bigger mission at hand, right? So honestly, that's it for this video. Like, honestly, I think this book is amazing. I want to big up Nicola Millington each and every time for producing this book, man. It's amazing. And like I said, it's not no ad, it's just something that I feel is important, and it reinforces why these particular sort of materials are so important in this day and age as well, because you know the rise of content and the more that people are being involved in content, sometimes we just don't necessarily understand the sort of things that we need to be privy to, or the things that we need to pay attention to or be mindful of in the pursuit of success and what that looks like for you. But for me, the case studies in there has helped me many a times, as I mentioned. And I think it's important to raise awareness. And if you are watching this and you have been watching my content and you're looking to build that brand, then build it and utilize yourself with the skills to be able to be persistent and have that level of perseverance, because with the obstacles that are going to be placed in the journey, it's in your best interest to be ready to overcome all those obstacles and to get particular materials like Swipe or any other various sort of support systems and tools and just anything you can use that can really just make you focus and always keep you grounded in your journey, I would highly recommend it. But on that note, let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. If you've gone through any previous experiences with trolls as you've been building your brand. And no, it'd be good to hear from you. But no, thank you very much for checking in once again. And I will catch you tomorrow. Peace out. Look after yourself.